Hey guys, how's it going? ClimaxCombo back again with another top 10. I'm Checkers,
And I am Licious Kid.
and today we are doing Spy Family. New set, booster and TD. Very excited. Love Spy Family. Set looks really cool.
Yes, the set is a standard 100 card set. We think this set was highly anticipated, and we think Bushi did a great job with this set. It focuses a lot on the change mechanic, which is very cool. Changes from their persona, their normal persona, to their true identities.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very flavorful and it seems really fun and quite powerful. Just a few things to mention. The entire set is Berlin City, so there is no shenanigans with synergies. Everything will just work. And like always, guys, these are our top 10 favorite cards in the set. Doesn't necessarily mean the strongest cards, but just our favorite. So we try to add some strong cards with some fun cards in the mix. This set, there are so many synergies between certain cards.
Yeah.
This is not really a top 10. This is like a top 20.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these cards need to work with another card, and some of that card needs to work with another card, so you get the full picture. So this might be a long one, might be a little convoluted and hard to explain, but we'll do our best.
Yes, for sure.
But with that being said, guys, let's get straight to it. For our number 10 card, we have this double R Lloyd. He's a level 0, 1500 power. He's got a couple of effects. During your turn, if you have another character, this gets plus 1500 power. When it's placed from hand to stage, you can perform the following effect twice, where you can mill yourself one card. Last effect, when your other character is front attack, you can pay 1, kill him. If you do, return that character to your hand. So this card is very good. 3k on play. On play, mill 2, potentially, if you want to. And then the ability to save another one of your characters by sacrificing himself seems good as well. Especially in this set, we think hand size might be an issue with some of these builds. So paying that one stock to killing Lloyd to get that character back to your hand, we think might have some value in this set.
Also, it's probably the best green card. A lot of these builds, all three of the family, Lloyd, Yor, and Anya, are in green as well as their own respective colors. So you're pretty much going to run green in all the builds. So this is a perfect level 0 to put in. Next up for our number 9, we have level 3 Twilight, double R in blue, 9500 base. The first effect is combo with pants. If you have 6 or less hand, you can pay 2, or when this attacks and you have 6 or less hand, you can pay 2 to deal 3 damage to your opponent, and if that damage is cancelled, you may deal 1 damage to your opponent. And the second effect is the change that is prevalent in these cards in the set. At the start of your Encore step, if this is rested, choose a level 3 green Lloyd underneath this card as a marker or in your waiting room. You may place it on stage in this card's former slot, and if you do, place that card or this card underneath that level 3 Lloyd face up as a marker. We will now go over the level 3 green Lloyd. It is 10k base. When he's played from hand or by the change effect, you can heal 1, and also has a change at the start of your opponent's Encore step. You do the same type of change with that level 3 Twilight from your waiting room or underneath him as a marker. So that's those level 3s, but like the rest of the level 3 finishers, Yor and Anya, they all have a level 2 event that kind of allows them to be played early. So we'll go over that event along with them. For this Twilight, it's this 2-1 event. If you have 2 or less in memory, you may pay cost, which is rest one of your Berlin City characters, and if you do, send this event to memory. And while this event is in memory, at the start of your main phase, this turn, this gains the following ability. Send this card from memory to your waiting room to choose up to 1 level 3 Twilight double R in your waiting room and place it on stage in any slot. So overall, this does kind of showcase what Bushi was going for the Spy Family mechanic of changing and coming out early. The combo itself, the finish for this Twilight is really good. Pay 2 is kind of a lot, but deal 3 additional and then deal 1 on cancel is really strong. and swapping out and healing is pretty cool, and it's nice when it's at level 2. However, the event is a little slow because you first have to play the event, rest one of your characters, and then the following turn, when there's a Twilight in your waiting room, you can play him with the event. So yeah, it's a little slow, and which is why this Twilight is on our number 9. He's really cool, and I think the combo is really good. It's just not as good as some of the other stuff on this list.
Keep in mind, guys, for you to change, they have to be in rest. So if you attack with the Twilight or the Lloyd and they get reversed, either you crash them or the opponent backs up, you cannot change. So they must survive the attack.
Yeah.
To change, and on defense, likewise, they must survive for you to change. So that's very important.
Yeah. And then when you first play them with these events, you also need to change target initially in the waiting room, which can be difficult, especially with a slow event. You can't just plan for it that turn. You have to hope that the next turn, all the pieces will be in order for this Twilight specifically.
Either, your opponent forces you to refresh, because there's cards like that, right? Forced to refresh at level 2. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and this one's a little slow. But Lloyd is powerful, or Twilight is powerful.
Yeah, the combo's really cool.
You technically don't need to run the events and just run Twilight, and I think you could have a legitimate build with it.
Yeah, agreed. He's perfectly viable on his own.
You don't need the event. So, but that's why he's our number 9. Release a card still, and it's a good showcase of what Bushi's intending with Spy Family. On to our number 8, we have the 0/0 Sylvia. Just a common. So she's got 2 powerful effects. When this is placed on stage from hand or sent from stage to waiting room, you can discard a climax with the pants icon from your hand to the waiting room. If you did, look at top 5 cards of your deck, choose one character amongst it, add it to your hand, and send the rest to waiting room. Second effect, when this card attacks, you can pay cost, which is either send the top card of your stock to waiting room or send the top card of your deck to clock. If you do, perform trigger check twice. This card, we think, is pretty overloaded. The first effect is already very powerful. The fact that you get it on play and on death is already so strong. I think that would make this card perfectly very viable. But the optional to twin drive or get 2 trigger checks for the standard pay 1 or to clock yourself is just so good.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I think this card could have been a double R low key.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and I would not blink. I would be like, wow, that's really strong. But for a common, we think it's insane. Just so cool and powerful and unique. So, I don't know. Did they mess up? Did they meant to make this double R? I don't know.
I guess maybe it's balanced because it really only works in pants.
But Pants is powerful.
Yeah, Pants is gonna, I think.
Pants is gonna be good. Yeah, as you'll see throughout this video, guys, Pants is good. So, there's literally no downsides with this card.
So sick.
The only downsides work with Pants. It works with any climax. GG.
Next up for our number 7, we have the level 3 double R in green. It's Lloyd, Anya, and Yor. It's 8k base. If you have 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room, this gets -1 level in hand. And when this is placed on stage from hand, heal 1, and then choose one of the following 3 effects and resolve it. Either if you have 4 or more other Berlin City characters, you may put the top card of your deck into your stock. Or pay 1, discard a card, and heal an additional 1. And lastly, you can, for this turn, it can get 3k power, making it 11k. This card is really strong and I think really cool because you have the potential to heal 2 with 1 card, 1 early play. And if not, you can just pay 1 to heal 1 because you can get a blind stock with it. The power is not super relevant, but I mean, maybe there's some situations. But overall, the fact that you can heal 2 with it is pretty insane. And it's green. It can go on everything.
As the game ending in Weiß Schwarz becomes crazier and crazier, like borderline every set.
Yeah.
Healing at level 2 is just so important. And having 1 card to heal twice at level 2, I mean, I think we agree that paying the extra heal, we think is the best part of this card.
Yep. 100%.
And it's powerful. Like, I'm hoping Bushi prints more of these cards in future sets because staying at level 2 longer is just more important than ever. in Weiss. So it's a sick card.
Next up for our number 6, we have the level 0 Anya RR in yellow, 1500 base. When your other character is placed on stage by change until the end of your next turn, it gets plus 1k power. And it also has a brainstorm, pay 1, rest her, flip 4 cards. For every climax you hit, grab a Berlin City character from your waiting room and add it to hand. This card is crazy strong for the set. It makes all your change characters pretty much an additional 1k stronger. If you have 2 in the back row, they become 2k stronger. It's insane because it triggers each time your characters change. So that's why it's pretty much a 1k global. Overall, this card is just really strong and enables... Overall, this card is really strong and makes the change mechanic of the set really powerful.
Low-key, the heart and soul of Spy Family.
Yes.
And you'll see as we go through these top 10, there are even more cards that make this card more powerful. There's just a lot of powerful synergies with this card.
Mm-hmm.
Alone, this card is insane. But insane? Alone, this card is good.
It's good.
But as you'll see, there's other cards that'll make this even better.
Oh.
Ooh. And that's just number 6.
Oh my god. Speaking of a card that Anya makes better, we have a level 3 Yor. It is similar to the level 3 Twilight earlier on this list. It's a finish, it has a change, and a level 2 event that works with her. But first of all, this level 3 Yor, it combos with the door. On attack, you can pay 1 as long as you have 2 or more other Berlin City characters. And then if you did, you deal 4 damage to your opponent, and this gets plus 4k power for the turn, which is a lot. Making it 13-5, 14-5 with the climax. She changes with level 3 green Yor. That Yor is 10k base. When she's played from hand or by change, it stock heals. You can discard a card to put the top card of your clock to stock and change with this level 3 RR Yor. And the event, 2-1 event, if you have 2 or less Berlin City characters, this cannot be played from hand. Choose up to 1 level 3 Yor from your hand, place it on stage in any slot, the RR level 3 Yor. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is probably the combo we think is the best out of the 3 family combos. It's just really strong. Pay 1 for ping 4 is great. She gets really strong, so you can reverse whatever your opponent has. Door is a great climax trigger to have, the best climax trigger. And the event is also the easiest one to pull off. You only need another Yor in your hand, and it's right away. It's not as slow like the Twilight one. This one, you just have the events and the Yors in your hand. You can play them and start burning your opponent for 4 at level 2. So it's really great. Yeah, a lot of power in this.
Very lethal at level 2. It's immediate. And if your opponent does back up against it to kill the Yor, you still get the combo off for just paying 1. And they still take 4. So it's like you're still taking damage from this Yor regardless, even if they do a backup to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And the event is pay 1, so you're playing. It's like you could think of it playing the level 3 Yor as like pay 1, discard a card to play the Yor instead of playing 2, because you can use that extra stock to combo.
Yep.
And just like Twilight, you don't really need the event. This Yor is good at level 3 as well. Just slap down 3, play the combo, go from there. But it is definitely much scarier at level 2.
Yeah, this thing's pretty scary.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, not thing. This beautiful woman is very scary.
Mm-hmm. Give Yoru the respect she deserves.
Yeah.
Next up for our number 4, we have this 1 RR Yoru, 3500 power. She's got a couple effects. When a climax is played in your climax zone, during this turn it gets plus 2500 power. She has another effect. When this attacks, you can discard a card. If you do, this gets 2 trigger checks. Lastly, combos with the gold bar. When this attacks, you can salvage a character added to your hand. So we think this card is super sick. Keep in mind that first effect is not a climax combo. You can work with any climax, which is super cool. You can discard a card to get 2 trigger checks, which is very cool. I think it's a cool take on the standard pay 1 to get 2 trigger checks. I think that discarding a card is a little more fun. It's different. It's new. We'll see how it works. Maybe it won't be as strong as pay 1 2 trigger checks, just because you won't get that clean stock that we all love so much. But it's still good. And then lastly, the combo is legit as well. You get to salvage character. Simple but effective. So overall, I think it's a cool card.
This card can be pretty sick, I think. You get to accelerate the game with more gold bar combos. You can build more stock. That is the one plus side about ditching. Instead of paying 1, you will have more stock overall.
Yes, that's true. It's not a break even in stock. It's a +1 in stock. I forgot to mention that, but thank you.
Set up anything in your hand. Yeah.
Powerful.
Really good.
And you can discard anything, so discard those gold bars. For our number 3, we got 2 cards because we think they kind of do similar things. First, we're going to go over the 2/1 Becky 5k double R. She's got a lot of effects. If this card is in your back row, all of your 0/0 double R Anya we talked about earlier gains the following effect. Of all your other characters get plus 1500 power. Second effect, at the beginning of your climax phase, you can discard 2 cards if you do deal 1 damage to your opponent. And her last effect is it's a startup. You can discard a copy of her from your hand to the waiting room, put her from stand to rest. If you do, search for a character, add it to your hand, shuffle your deck. Next, we'll go over this Bond 2/1 5k, just a humble rare. If this card is in your back row, all your 0/0 double R Anya Brainstormers get the following effect of all your other characters get plus 100 power. Second effect, you can rest this card. If you can rest this card if you have another 0/0 Anya Brainstorm double R on the field. Look at the top card of your opponent's deck, put it on top of your deck or the waiting room. So both of these cards are super sick. They're both kind of do the same thing. They're both 1500 globals with the double R Anya that you're going to be running regardless. We think the payoff in Becky is higher because she can burn your opponent and search out cards from your deck, which is of course very powerful. But it's kind of a lot because you got to run a lot of these Beckys. Not a lot, but at least more than one, And then you got to discard 2 cards to burn 1 to your opponent, which is kind of a lot, Bond, on the other hand, does somewhat accomplish the same things. He's a 1500 global, and then he can't tutor, but he can, rest himself to look at top card of your opponent's deck and leave it there or put it to the waiting room. If you hit a climax with Bond, it's just as good as burn 1. You don't have to discard anything. It doesn't have to be convoluted. This Bond payoff is lower, but it's just much more consistent and much less resources, You could use him literally every turn after you play him, while Becky can be hard to accomplish that. So I like the Becky more, but I do think the consistency and the flex and just how easy it is to do a Bond is better.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just happy about the 1500 global.
That's
it's
also
crazy.
See that? That's not even the best part. You're right. The 1500 global is broken. Oh my god!
All your early play 3s, they just get 2500 global suddenly once you play these cards, and they're all good on top of it. So it's
I forgot. I'm too focused on that effect. That's the best part. Who cares about all this fluff when you're 1500 globals? Oh my god, that doesn't make sense. Sick cards. And it just gets more sick, guys, for our number 2 card. This is my personal favorite card instead. This is 3/5 green event. When you play this event, you choose up to 1 double R level 3 Twilight, 1 double R level 3 Yoru, and 1 double R level 3 Anya from your hand and place them on separate slots on your stage. Then you send this card to memory. And it has a recollection. If this card is in your memory, during the turn this card was sent to memory, your gold bar card name is also treated as the choice trigger for Anya, the gate trigger for Yoru, and the pants trigger for Twilight. So essentially you can combo with all of them with just the gold bar, which is just too cool. I mean, getting killed by the entire family. Can't think of a better way to die. So you get beat down by all of them. Very cool. I think it's just so fun, but it's definitely just for fun, right?
Dude, this card, You need 5 different cards in your hand by the time to pull this off, and 7 stock essentially to do all 3.
And you gotta be running 4 colors because you need green, red, yellow, blue.
So tight.
And you gotta run a whole bunch of them too. It's gonna take a genius to make this deck really work, but I hope someone does it and tops, and then this becomes like the ultimate build for Spy Family, because that would just be so sick.
That would be crazy.
That would be so crazy.
That would be beautiful.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what people can brew with this card, but it's cool. On to some honorable mentions. First of all, we got the 0050 Anya. It's got 2 effects. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you can discard a climax. If you do, salvage a character. Secondly, it combos with the gold bar. If you have 2 or more characters, when you play the gold bar, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the waiting room. You can choose up to 1 level X or lower character in your waiting room, add it to your hand. X is the number of characters sent to the waiting room by this effect. So, pretty standard at this point now, I think. Bushi's really pushing for these mill 3 level 0 climax combos, and honestly they're good, and we think is pretty healthy for the game, adds a lot of spice, and it's just overall very powerful. Her first effect is also very powerful and just synergizes well with this kind of build. We think this does have a place in the no change, no shenanigans build. 8 gold bars, you run 4 of it with her, and 4 with the level 3 TD, level 3 gold bar TD. And then, you got yourself an honest, boring deck.
Yep. No changes here.
Nope.
Just beat them down.
Yep. So, but overall, this card is pretty legit.
Another honorable mention we have is the level 3 double R Anya in yellow. The same equivalent level 3 combo to the Yor and the Twilight from earlier. 9500 base, climax combo with the choice. When this attacks, you can pay 1, discard a card to look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Choose up to 3 cards from among them, put them on top of your opponent's deck in any order, and send the rest to waiting room, and then heal up to 1. And then change with Green Anya, 10k base. When she's played from hand or by change, look at up to the top X cards of your deck, and grab a card, add it to hand, where an X is the number of Berlin City characters you have on stage. And lastly, the level 2 event that you can use to play her early is this one. If you have 3 or less Berlin City characters, this cannot be played from hand. Choose 1 of your level 0 Anyas that we haven't gone over, and we won't. You may send it to the waiting room. If you do, choose 1 character with Anya in its name in your waiting room and place it on stage in any slot. One thing to note, I guess, about that Anya, though, is that it does have event synergies, and it can grab this event, so it makes it a little more consistent. And it's cool that you can play any Anya. You don't have to play this level 3 Anya. There's some other ones that you can do. It even works with the family level 3 from the TD if you want.
Because Anya's in the name.
Yeah. But overall, this Anya, there's like some... It doesn't seem as strong. The combo is still good, but it doesn't do extra damage. It just has some very consistent ways to deal damage. If your opponent has a lot of climaxes on the top, their deck is compressed, you don't really care that much. You can just do this, and you have a good chance to deal damage to them for that turn. And she can plus when she swaps out, pretty much, which is pretty cool. If she stays alive, you get your hand back. This event, playing this event and sacking those level 0 Anyas is kind of rough on your hand as well. So it's good on that. And that level 3 Anya in green can grab events as well. They have money counters. You can play more 2-1 events or grab more events with that Anya. That level 3 green Anya can also grab events with her effect, so it adds some consistency to these event-based decks. And yeah, overall it's cool, but not as cool as the Yor or the Twilight, and that is why it's in our honorable mentions.
I do think the green Anya's timing is a little awkward. Like, I feel like you want to play those check top X cards on your turn because
Yeah.
you're going to be planning out your turn. But then if you do it on your opponent's, at the start of your opponent's, at the end of your turn, essentially, it's just kind of hard to plan out how they're going to react to your board. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little
That's
awkward.
fair.
I think the best target is, yeah, like you said, the money event backup. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, you might just mill a bunch of climaxes, on the way
Yeah.
there. So it's a little awkward, I think, too.
Yeah.
That Anya. So, but we do think there's definitely an Anya deck that they're going for, and it can work.
Mhm.
Lastly, for our last honorable mention, we got this 2/1 event. If you do not control a character, you cannot play this from your hand. When you do play this event, you send this card to memory. When you play the event, you choose up to 2 of your characters during this turn. They gain the following effect of this card can sign attack without soul penalty. As recollection, if this card is in memory, all your characters with change get plus 1k power and the following effect of their hexproof. And lastly, if this card is in memory at the beginning of your opponent's encore step, send this card to waiting room. There's a way to grab this, right, from your deck or from your waiting room?
Waiting room.
That makes it so much better so you can loop it. There's a card that synergizes with this card in the set that can grab it from waiting room. We won't really go over it, but just keep that in mind. It does increase the playability of this event. But overall, this event, as a standalone card, I think is really cool. Like we said earlier, your characters do need to survive to change. And if you're afraid of them dying, or they have just too huge of a board, you can just play this event, and then they can side attack, and then they can start doing their change shenanigans. And it gives them extra 1k juice, which is very respectable as well. It only lasts for 1 turn, but like we said, there is a way to salvage it, so you can kind of keep constantly doing this loop, if that makes sense. If you really want to be spicy, you can try to tech 1 in your level 3 Yoru 8 gate builds. You play the Yoda events, you play level 3 Yoru, you play this event, now they're hexproof, and that's really scary, so I don't know, just something to think about. But I think that's a little greedy, but the potential's there. I think it's a cool tech.
All right, now on to our number 1. We have this double R 1/0 Fiona, the only change in the set that's not a level 3 combo. It's 3k base. During your turn, she gets 30k power, making her 6k on attack, or during our turn, sorry. And combos with the pants. When she attacks, if you have another Berlin City character, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose 1 Berlin City character from among them, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, and place the rest back on top in any order. And the last effect is change. She changes with the 1/0 Fiona, 500 base. If you have 2 or more other Berlin City characters during your turn, this gets 4k power, and during your opponent's turn, this gets 6k power. At the end of this card's battle opponent's attack, look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck and put them back on top in any order. And then lastly, Encore phase change with the 1/0 Fiona that combos. This card is really insane. The fact that she changes into a different card adds a lot of extra value to playing this 1/0 Fiona combo. You get a card to your hand, which is cool. You can't really control what it is, but you don't have to grab a card either when you top check your 3. So you get control of your triggers. If you see a climax, you can always put it at the back, add 1 card to your hand, trigger, and then look again with another one to postpone the triggering the climax. There's stuff like that. The 1/0 that she switches into, on defense, it's 6/5, and combined with the Anya Brainstorm from earlier, it becomes 7/5 on defense, or if you have 2 Anya Brainstorms, 8/5, which is insane for costless. And on top of that, when she gets attacked, side attack, front attack, doesn't really matter. At the end of it, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and control the order that those cards come in. So you can actually move climaxes closer to the top of your deck, get more cancels in that way. And the last one, you can choose what you draw into. So honestly, these 2 cards 1-0s, they kind of are just one card. You get so much value from it. They're really strong. A ton of top checking to kind of control your triggers, keep them clean, knowing what you're going to trigger, getting extra cancels by moving climaxes around. It's pretty nuts. And I think, we think this card is really strong. These cards are really strong. And yeah.
The Anya Brainstorm makes this card over the top.
Yep.
And like you mentioned, the last one, you do control your draw, but you also get to control your clock because you'll get 3.
Oh yeah, you see all 3.
It's so good. Like, oh my gosh.
Do you actually want a clock to get that extra climax?
Or you see 2 climaxes, brainstorm plus 2. Who needs to clock when you can just brainstorm and then get value off of that, you know?
There's so much with this card. These cards. There's just it's crazy. I think it's crazy.
It's also so cool. Like, we usually see defensive cards start popping out at level 2, you know?
Yeah.
But a defensive card like this coming out at level 1 is just insane, you know? Like, or cards that usually are defensive at level 1 have like 500 power. Like, a good example is like the new Uma Musume one with the Oguri cap and the Tamamo cross, like 500 power level 1. This one is 6/5 and is better. So it's just crazy. If your opponent cannot answer Fiona and Night Veil, it's lights out. You're gonna be surviving forever and ever.
Yeah.
And what can they do if your deck is low power? They're just sitting at level 1. Yeah.
And taking no damage.
Yup, siding 2 just makes it so strong. Like, it's crazy.
It seems really good.
They crash into it. They die. They survive. If they side, you don't take any damage. And then, like,
beautiful.
It's insane.
Whew. But that's gonna do it for our top 10 for Spy Family. A lot of really cool stuff, and I think they did Spy Family justice with the mechanics and the flavor. All the characters are so cool.
There is a build for all your favorite characters. So and they all seem powerful too. So definitely you could build a deck for any of your favorite characters. They're all flavorful. They're all fun. It's just so cool. They did such a good job with the set.
Yep. Woo. Well, look forward to more Spy Family content in the future, guys. And hit like and subscribe if you stayed this long. Helps out a lot.
And we'll catch you guys in the next video.
Peace.
Peace.